Hey everyone, welcome to our channel where we'll be explaining how copper wire is made. If you love learning about all things metal, then make sure to subscribe for more videos. Copper wire is everywhere. It's in your homes, electrical wiring, cars, wiring, and pretty much every electronic device you own. But have you ever stopped to wonder how it's made? In this video, we'll take you through each step of the process from mining the ore to creating the finished product. Before we get started, let's go ahead and answer the big question. What is copper? Copper is a chemical element with the symbols Cu and an atomic number of 29. This means that each copper atom has 29 protons, which gives it a positive charge, and it's also the number of electrons that will be orbiting its nucleus. At room temperature, copper is a soft, malleable and ductile metal with a reddish color. This makes it very easy to work with and gives it some unique properties compared to other metals. For example, it's highly conductive of electricity and heat, making it perfect for wiring applications. It's also resistant to corrosion and oxidation, which allows it to last for many years without degrading. Now that you know a little bit about copper, let's get into how it's made. The first step in making copper wire is, of course, getting the copper. And the way we do this is by mining copper ore, which is usually in the form of sulfide or oxide minerals. Once the ore has been extracted from the ground, it goes through a process called crushing and grinding, where it's broken down into smaller pieces to make it easier to process. Next, the crushed ore goes through a process called froth flotation, which is used to separate the copper from the waste rock. In this process, water and air are mixed with the crushed ore and a special chemical solution to create a frothy mixture. The copper particles become attached to the bubbles in the froth and are floated to the top of the tank, where they can be collected. This process is very effective and can recover up to 90% of the copper in the ore. After the copper has been separated from the waste rock, it still needs to be purified. Before it can be used to make wire, this is done through a process called electrolysis, where an electric current is passed through a copper solution to deposit pure copper on the negative electrode. The impurities in the copper solution are not able to be reduced by the electric current, and so they remain in the solution. This process is very important because any impurities left in the copper could affect the strength and conductivity of the wire. Once the copper has been purified, it's time to turn it into wire. This process starts with heating the copper to a high temperature, which makes it more malleable and easier to work with. The heated copper is then rolled or extruded through a series of rollers to create a long, thin piece of copper. This process is repeated several times until the copper has been reduced to the desired thickness. The resulting copper sheet or rod is then cut into the desired length to make the final product. One of the most important properties of copper wire is its diameter. The diameter of the wire determines its resistance and conductivity. The larger the diameter, the lower the resistance, and the higher the conductivity. However, it also increases the cost of the wire, since more copper is needed to make a thicker wire. On the other hand, a smaller diameter wire is cheaper to make, but it also has more resistance and less conductivity. Therefore, the choice of copper wire diameter depends on the application. For example, a thicker wire might be used for an electrical connection where high conductivity is required, while a thinner wire might be used for a low current application where cost is a concern. Another important property of copper wire is its electrical insulation. Electrical insulation is necessary to prevent the flow of electricity from the copper wire to the surrounding environment. This is typically done by coating the copper wire with a layer of plastic or rubber. Additionally, copper wire is often coated with a protective layer of tin or zinc to prevent corrosion and extend its lifespan. These coatings can be applied through various methods such as electroplating or hot dipping. Finally, once the copper wire has been manufactured, it's often bundled together with other wires to create a cable. This is done by twisting the wires together and then covering them with a protective jacket. The resulting cable is then cut to the desired length and terminated with connectors for electrical connections. This process ensures that the individual copper wires are securely held together and protected from the environment. So there you have it, a quick overview of how copper wire is made. Now let's take a closer look at some of the equipment used in this process. The first piece of equipment we need to discuss is the rolling mill. The rolling mill is used to reduce the thickness of the copper sheet or rod during the wire making process. It consists of a set of rollers that apply pressure to the copper, forcing it to be flattened. The rollers are precisely machined to create the desired thickness of the copper wire. The copper is fed into the rolling mill and passes through the rollers until it reaches the desired thickness. The entire process is carefully controlled to ensure that the copper is rolled evenly and accurately. Another piece of equipment used in making copper wire is the wire rod straightener. As the name suggests, this machine is used to straighten the copper rods before they are cut into wire. It uses a series of rollers to straighten the rod and ensure that it is perfectly straight before cutting. This is important because any defects in the rod could affect the quality of the final wire product. Next, we have the wire rod bundle. After the copper has been turned into individual wires, they are bundled together to create a cable. This is done using a machine called a wire rod bundler, which uses a series of rotating rollers to twist the wires together. The wires are fed into the bundler and emerge on the other side as a twisted cable ready for termination. Finally, we need to talk about the wire cutting machine. The wire cutting machine is used to cut the copper wire to the desired length. It uses a sharp blade or wire cutter to make precise cuts, ensuring that each piece of wire is the exact length required. The machine is capable of making thousands of cuts per minute, making it an essential part of the copper wire manufacturing process. Overall, the process of making copper wire is a complex and highly technical one, requiring specialized equipment and expertise. From mining and refining the ore to manufacturing the wire and adding protective coatings, each step is critical in creating a high-quality product. So the next time you come across a copper wire, take a moment to appreciate the hard work and precision that went into making it. Hopefully now you know a little bit more about copper wire and how it's made. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos about all things metal. Thanks for watching.